legends. Dystopian regimes often promote propaganda within the society to make the people think that it is in fact utopia that ironically leads to such horrifying conditions. So dystopian regimes, they feel that because everything is perfect, due to the reason that everything is perfect, automatically the imperfectness occurs. So this results in an horrifying conditions. This is an idea about utopia also by dystopian regimes. And dystopian works were only a few in number till the second half of the 19th century. Before that, you can see only Jonathan Swift's Gulliver's Travels were the one kind of dystopian work which had the concept of dystopian, but it is not on the total a dystopian work, but it had a concept. It just matched with an idea of dystopian. Until the second half of the 19th century, there were only a very few works regarding the concept of dystopian. And until that, the Nazi Germany, that is the German rule, Hitler's rule, has loomed large in literature for more than half a century. The government ruled by Nazi Germany and how Hitler he ruled people. All those aspects were covered large in literature for more than half a century. But this form of dystopian literature, it gained widespread popularity only after World War II. So, during the possibility of global annihilation by nuclear weapons, enter the nuclear consciousness. That is, only after the impact of the nuclear weapons, the problem that people were facing in the reality, it entered into the nuclear consciousness. Here, I mentioned the word people as nuclear. Why? Because until that, they did not understand the real happenings. Only after the nuclear weapons during the World War II, they understood the reality of the society that was happening around them. The terrifying speed at which humans are extinguishing the world's resources and contributing to climatic changes that may very well prove to be incompatible with human life. Rise in technology associated with the first and second industrial revolutions, as well as dehumanization of the workers during the time. During the time when machines started to occupy human power, when technology started to occupy the human power, people started to recognize what they were losing in their life. This happened only after the Second World War. Now, as I told, there were no works before the second half of the 19th century. We can also trace back the concepts of dystopian in our ancient predecessors. It is a brief history. First is the scriptural story of Noah and his crew. Many of us are aware of the story where Noah and his crew, where Noah he got a message from the God saying, depicting the destruction of the world and how he was instructed to construct an ark. All those stories there also you can have this dystopian concept depicting the danger, the destruction that they are going to face. That is, the scriptural story of Noah and his crew also has the dystopian concept. And then the Epic of Gilgamesh, 2000 to 2500 BC. It is a very ancient work where it speaks about many myths. In this story, the Epic of Gilgamesh, you can find that all the characters were punished. The humanity was punished, where the angry gods, they sent floods to punish humanity. But the ancient hero, that is the hero of the Epic of Gilgamesh, and his family were saved through the intervention of the god Ea. Though this is a myth story, this also speaks about a destruction in environment, destruction in their society, what they are going to face. Though it might be an imagination, they are instructing them, if you do not follow the rules, you might face this destruction. Even that is also a concept of dystopian. And the next is a similar story about the Genesis flood narrative is found in Surah 71 of the Quran, where Prophet Noah builds the ark and rebuilds humanity. The same story, the scriptural story of Noah and his crew, is also found in Quran, and the same story, it also speaks about the destruction of the world, where they speak about the corrupted original civilization and its replacement with a remade world. They remake a world and they survive after the destruction. So a similar story is also found in Surah 71 of the Quran. And Hindu Dharma Shastra, the apocalyptic deluge, plays a prominent part here. In this work, Matsya Purana, here you can see that the Matsya Purana, the avatar of the Lord Vishnu, he informs King Manu about the destructive deluge that will be coming very soon. So, what happens? The king was advised to build a huge boat, that is an ark, which housed his family, then nine types of seeds, pairs of all animals, and saptarishis to repopulate the earth after the deluge, and the oceans and the seas would recede. So at the time of this deluge, what happens is Vishnu, he appears as an horned fish. As you can see in this image, he appears as a horned fish, and Shesha, he appears as a rope with which Manu he fastens the boat. With that rope, he fastens the boat to the horn of the fish. This various stories of the same story, but in different variations, is also found in Buddhist and Jain scriptures also. This is one of our ancient work. Another work, the first century AD, it saw the recording of the book of Revelation filled with the prophecies as well as luminous visions. The revelations of Saint John the Divine, first chapter, it speaks about the new earth, a new heaven, which is very enchanted. What happens is when it speaks about the new heaven and the new earth, automatically people they started to enchant, and they were inspired by the heaven, by the new earth that they are going to face, but they were not terrified by the vision of the judgment day. They were not terrified by the vision of the judgment day, but they were enchanted and they were inspired by the new earth that they are going to face, the new heaven that they are going to face. So in the modern era, what happened is this concept, it started to change. The concept of destruction that causes the public's interest in the apocalyptic theme. So automatically what happens later they started to lose their terrific, that is they lose their fear, and they started to enchant and they were inspired by the happenings. Now coming here, why all this happens? Why do we want to have some imagination? And what does this all imagination and unpleasant imagination it speaks about? During 1967, in a study, Frank Kermode, he gives us an answer why it happens. We can take this as one of the answers for our question, why it happens. Frank Kermode, in his work, The Sense of an Ending, studies in the theory of fiction. He suggests that the failure of religious prophecies led to a shift in how the society apprehends this ancient mode. While the world goes to waste for future generations, people distract themselves from disaster by passively watching it as an entertainment. As in the picture, you can see that each individual is concerned about what he or she wants, what he or she thinks. They are neither bothered about the happenings nor bothered about the neighbor's happenings also. This is what, while the world goes to waste for future generations, people distract themselves from disaster by passively watching it as an entertainment. In our current scenario also, this is what is happening. We hear the cases of corona reported on a nearby districts and a nearby places. So we don't worry about it. Until it affects us, we don't worry about it. We watch it as an entertainment in newspaper. We watch it as an entertainment in televisions. This the same concept of this is what is a dystopian is. This concept is depicted in earlier works itself. The same we are going in the later slides, we'll see how this apocalyptic what is happening now also affects our day-to-day life. Now, significance. Why do you want to read all those dystopian works or studies? What does it does? Dystopian studies, it reflects the contemporary socio-political realities, and it extrapolates the worst case scenarios as warnings for necessary social changes or caution. And in current scenario, I saw many memes stating that The nature, as we have polluted the environment is clean nowadays because we don't go outside. During lockdown, there were many topics that were concerned relating to this. The nature is free and the animals are free to roam wherever they want. Now we are being jailed and the animals are free. So this is what is being given in the first point. Dystopian studies reflect contemporary socio-political realities and extrapolate the worst case scenarios as your warnings. It is giving you a warning that there should be a change in the happenings. What is happening around you, there should come a change, the necessary social change, or it might be a caution also. It reflects the concerns and the fears of their creators' contemporaneous culture. It is considered as a subject of social studies. It is very important in order to know what is happening in the society. Either concentrating on one side, the perfect side, we can also concentrate on the imperfect side also. So it reflects the concerns and the fears of their creators' contemporaneous culture. It pictures the tyrannical government, the totalitarian government, the government control, the environmental disaster, and the decline in the society. It draws attention towards society, environment, politics, economics, religion, ethics, psychology, science, and technology. So it is concerned on all these aspects. It doesn't speak only about government or only about environment. It also speaks about the human psychology, also speaks about the ethics, religion, economic condition in our society. The first major concept is totalitarian society, or the government control, or the politics, how it controls people. This is the main theme or a concept in a dystopian work. So, government control or politics is a very common theme where the government is the cause of the dystopian world. In those works, works concerning this totalitarian concept, in that work, government is the cause of the dystopian world. So as a result, what happens? The population or the public, they experience some horrible living conditions. Automatically, there will be an outbreak in a civil war to counteract the government. So why does it happen? This occurs because of at least one fatal flaw. This flaw might be either on the government side or in the public side. So there is one fatal flaw. This results in the government control or a politics. Example, in When the Sleeper Wakes by H.G. Wells, in this novel you can see governing class, that is the ruling class, is depicted as hedonic and shallow, where the governing class, either rather than being very concerned about their own government as well as the public, they are hedonic, they are pleasure seeking, and they are very shallow in their ideas and their implementations. Next, Animal Farm by George Orwell, a very interesting novel, Animal Farm by George Orwell. Here you can see the character, Pig Napoleon, represents Joseph Stalin in a farmyard satire on Stalinist Russia and how power corrupts. This is a satire on Stalin, speaking about how the authority changes from people to another people, but rather from the person to another person, but we are being suppressed. The same oppression, it continues among the public, just the authority is changed from one party to another party, but our oppression, it remains the same. This is how about the government control is being depicted by George Orwell in Animal Farm. Next is George Orwell's another interesting novel, 1984. It is set in a world that is under complete government control. The leader of the party has surveillance over everyone. It centers on the consequences of government overreach, totalitarianism, mass surveillance, and repressive regimentation of all persons and behaviors within the society. So George Orwell's 1984, here it speaks about how the government has the authority to change the rules as per it wishes, change the documents, the documentations given to the public as the government wishes. So the protagonist, when he identifies this rule, he starts to rebel against the government. So George Orwell has brought out the problems that a public, the protagonist named Winston, he faces the problems faced by Winston, though he is in the ruling, supporting the ruling party. When he himself discovers the corruptions made by the government, how will he react? So George Orwell has beautifully brought out this concept of government control in 1984. Another concept is technological control. First, government control. Now, how does technology control us? It physically controls, and it controls people's mind. It physically controlling the characters using technology or controlling a city. It controls people's mind. Utopia see it as a beneficial addition, but technological dystopias concern it with and focuses largely on the negative effects caused by the new technology. This is where utopias and dystopias contradict. Utopias see technology as a benefit, but dystopias they see it as a negative effect. Speaking about how technology controls the human power, they concentrate on that aspect. Utopias they concentrate on how the technology has speeded up our life, has brought about, for example, in industrial revolution, how we use machines. It replaced human power, but we welcome the changes. Why? Because we want some changes in technological side and we support of it. But dystopias they concern only with the negative effects that is caused by the new technology. The need for business it replaced the community, and the story online replaced people as the soul of the net. It is very interesting. You see here, the story online replaced people as the soul of the internet. We don't feel the book nowadays. We don't feel the book to read it. We feel we browse it, we download an ebook, we read it, we skip the pages as we wish, and we go on, we search for a word. Even when they we make a research paper also, we search for the quotes that we need, we take it from the ebook, cut, copy, paste, and we go on. But this was not in the case before when technology developed. They used to read it, research it, they research it. The word says they research it. But when the story comes online, what happens? Story online, it replaces the people as the soul of the net. Jaron Lanier, a digital pioneer and the founding father of virtual reality, says, I think it's a way of interpreting technology in which people forget taking responsibility. Oh, it's the computer that did it, not me. Oh, it's not me. The computer did it. How he is a founding father of virtual reality, but he says, Jaron Lanier, he says, people forget taking their responsibilities when they depend upon technology. They used to tell, the if we follow an application when we work on internet, we follow manuals given in an application. We do not know how it works. We follow the manuals, the instructions given in the application, and we go on with it. So we say, I don't know what happened. You say, oh, it's the computer that did it, not me. Oh, it's not me. The computer did it. This quote explains that people begin to not only blame the technology for the changes in lifestyle, but also believes that technology is an omnipotence. They consider technology gives us everything, it makes us easy, so it is an omnipotent. So we are in a condition, depending upon the technology speaking about, it has become an omnipotent. We not only blame the technology for the changes in the lifestyle, but as well as we also appreciate it also. We welcome the changes also. So it also points to a technological determinist perspective in the terms of reification. Example for technology related dystopian novels, Feed by M.T. Anderson, where in this novel you can see people's brain are connected to a network similar to the internet. Feed, that is the computer programming, it is most often it is implanted at the birth, which can interrupt the citizens' thoughts with advertisements and other messages. An interesting character, Violet, in the novel, after she experiencing a malfunction in a feed, she decides to live without it and starts to rebel against the feed. The character experiences the destructive forces, the adverse conditions they experience due to this programming, and finally they rebel against that fee, the computer programming that was fed into their brain during the birth. And next novel is Brave New World. Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. It is from the picture you can see that everything is technological, machinery. So it is set in a futuristic world state whose citizens are environmentally engineered into an intelligent-based social hierarchy. The novel anticipates huge scientific advancements in reproductive technology, sleep learning, psychological manipulation, and classical conditioning that are combined to make a dystopian society. Here, what happens in this novel is even a reproduction, it becomes artificial, where father and mother, they are considered to be obscene. So everything depends upon technology. Sleep learning, psychological manipulation, and classical conditioning, everything is combined to make a dystopian society in the novel Brave New World. Next, we have a comparison between the government control and the technological control. In the novel 1984, author Orwell, he fears about those who ban book. But in Brave New World, the author feels that there is no reason to ban a book because technology gives you everything. There is no reason to ban a book. But in 1984, he says he has a fear, Orwell has a fear about those who ban a book. And they are feared of deprived information. Orwell fears what will happen if they do not, that is the characters, do not receive the information on time. But Huxley, he's feared of those who gave us information. He fears that they have given us information, so automatically will get collapsed. This happens when we read a lot, when we gather more information, we become shallow. We don't get time to get deeper into it when we receive as much as of information. So feared of those who gave us information. Next is control by inflicting pain. 1984, in that Orwell, he brings about the pain. He brings about how they are controlled, how the public is controlled by inflicting pain. Here, Huxley, he brings it by inflicting pleasure through technology. And it is an historical record is revised. In 1984, the main character, he revises the historical record. He finds out how government has made certain changes in the historical record. So addition and deletion as per the government's control brings about a rebel in the characters. When the characters find they are deluded, they turn irrational. Constant reputation, it killed empathy. So when they want reputation, when each party they needs reputation, there is no place for empathy in 1984. But on Brave New World, people spend time in pleasure. The main character, it grows up in another world. When all the characters, they involve themselves in the technological world, the main character in the novel grows up in another world where he reads many books. When he enters into this technological world, he feels that the world has lost something valuable. So this is a small comparison between the government control and the technological control. The characters are complete ignorant, whether it might be a government control or a technological control. The characters are ignorant that they are being The characters are ignorant that they are being controlled by the government and the technology, where they are not enjoying their real happiness that they have to enjoy in reality. Next concept is economic situations. How does the money plays an important role in dystopian novels? You can see here, we want change. Change is needed. Change and change. When public, they protest for change, see what people who are on the ruling class, what they do is depicted in this slide. Economic conditions relates directly to the element that the writer is depicting as a source of oppression. The society is forced to follow several archetypes. Dichotomy of planned economics versus free market economics. So here, economic condition, how it relates in dystopian novel is, the ruling class, when it oppresses a working class, there occurs a problem. There comes an economic problem. So ruling class, it imposes certain rules to be followed by the society, which we find very difficult. And privatization, corporate companies, both they have the consequences of capitalism. A privately owned and unaccountable large corporations have replaced the government and setting policy and making decisions. They bribe, manipulate, control, and contracted by as well as function as government. So all the corporate companies, they have replaced the government in disguise, where they bribe, they control, they themselves manipulate, and they are contracted by the government, but they function as the government in disguise. This is the problem in economical conditions in the dystopian works. Example, Kurt Vonnegut's Player Piano. Here, it depicts about a centrally controlled economic system has made material abundance plentiful, but deprived the mass of humanity of meaningful labor. All the workers in the novel are unsatisfactory, and only a small number of the small group companies' education is admitted to the elite and its work. When a corporate company, you can see from the slide, a corporate company owns everything, owns the factories and all other system, they own it, and only a few class, that is a small group of the small companies, our education is admitted to the elite and its work, where the mass of the public is left unnoticed. Okay, this is the main theme of economics in Player Piano. Next, the novel Jennifer Garment by Max Barry. It is set in a dystopian alternate reality in which most nations in Americans and Oceania, now controlled by the United States, are dominated by anarchy capitalism for profit corporate entities, while the government's political power is extremely limited. So this novel also speaks about the corporate companies, where government's political power is extremely limited, but the corporate's economical power is higher when compared to the government's political power. Next concept is nature and environment. Fictional dystopias are commonly urban and frequently isolate their characters from all contact with the natural world. The characters sometimes avoid nature, as when walks are regarded as dangerously antisocial in Ray Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451. So the characters concerned with nature and environment, the novels, dystopian novels, in those novels you can see the characters are isolated from the nature. Example I have given you is Fahrenheit 451, where walking outside is also considered antisocial in that novel. Empty by Suzanne depicts a world which closely resembles a current world that is brick off running out of oil. This novel, in the novel Empty, what happens is the characters, they don't find food, shelter or transportation due to the depletion of oil. So they find it very difficult to overcome the situation, and all the youngsters, they come together, they find an alternative way to overcome the situation, and they come out from this problem of depletion of oil. So what happens here is they speak about the nature and environment, what made the depletion of oil. So what are the causes, how the people are suffering due to the depletion of oil. Next, E.M. Foster's The Mission Stops. It depicts highly changed global environment which forces people to live underground due to the atmospheric contamination. So how funny it is. Outside the world is contaminated, so the characters are living on underground due to atmospheric contamination. So it speaks about how the environment would change, making it not a pleasant place to live, where life would become a state to live on the earth, so people are living underground due to atmospheric contamination. There's an imaginary condition where people are living in an underground and due to atmospheric contamination. In C.W. Lewis, That Hideous Strength, science coordinated by government is directed towards the control of nature and elimination of human instincts. In this novel, That Hideous Strength, both the science and government together, they control the nature and the elimination of human instincts. Being it as an imaginary imperfect society, anything is possible there. So they imagine that both the science coordinated by the government is controlling the nature as well as the human instincts also. Next, another concept is nuclear disaster. It is often set in a world that was previously obliterated and no longer inhabitable. When novels concerning with nuclear disaster, the situation would be like that. The disaster has recently taken place. It is a catastrophe. It starts from the catastrophe where the previously it is being destroyed and the place is no longer available to be. It is no longer inhabitable. So what happens? Violence. It also leads to the destruction, often in the form of war. Urban crimes are led by gangs or rampant by blood sports. The characters may be living in ruins or they may be living in an underground shelter protected from harmful radiations and harmful conditions. So they live in controlled by fear. Fear it controls the characters concerning to this nuclear disaster novels. So in the novel City of Ember is set in an underground world where everything is controlled and rationed very precisely. What happens in the City of Ember is a character named Elena. She becomes very happy when she receives that she is going to be Ember's messaging service, a member in the Ember messaging service. She feels so happy that she can go all around the city and she can roam and she can visit all the nook and corner of the city. But when she meets her friend Dune from another city, she learns that everything is okay in her city, Dune city. But in Alina city, everything is imperfect where they are being controlled by something due to this nuclear radiations and nuclear weapons. They all are living underground. So she feels that something is wrong in the society and she rebels against it and she changes the society. That is what the story of City Ember is. Next main concept is laws of individualism. When a government controls or technology controls, automatically an individual loses their identity. So an individual recognizes a different way to live and raises awareness among others. The quest for survival is the result of one of other themes. This survival, that is search for individualism, search for an identity, it results as a combination of both the government control as well as an environmental destruction also. By James Dashner, Maze Runner by James Dashner. In that novel, the young boys they are being transported into a controlled world. Okay, they're being transported into a controlled world where they are trapped. So these boys they also live and survive by organizing themselves into a working groups where they farm, collect, and search for an escape. Even there, they search for an escape. By any means, they search whether they could escape from that controlled world. Their life also changes after they come in contact and they come in contact with another world, and after that they push themselves to get out from that situation, and finally they find another world where they find their own identity. Next, in the novel people are permitted to live out of public view twice a week for 1 hour and are only referred to by numbers instead of names. So here also they don't have their own identity. In the novel they are also being referred to by numbers. They are not referred to their names. They are referred as number 1, 2, 3. And next novel is Uglies. Uglies by Scott Westerfeld, where it focuses on the law of individualism after the age of 16. In this novel, the characters, they live in a dilemma thinking, they live in an imagination thinking that if they attain the age of 16, they might look pretty. So their only concept is they have to look pretty. So they do not want to see their reality. Okay, they feel that if they attain the age of 16, they might look pretty. They were unaware of the happenings around the society. They lost their individuality where they only wanted to look pretty. They were not ready to accept their individualism. Next, the characters in dystopian novels eradicate the family and keep it from re-establishing itself as a social institution. Example, Brave New World by Huxley. In the Brave New World, reproduction itself becomes artificial, as I already told. Both father and mother are concerned to be obscene, where everything becomes artificial. So what happens is they eradicate the family from re-establishing it as a social institution. And the next concept is ruling and working class. The authority goes to the ruling class, and the working class, they face oppression, and a contrast between the privileges of the ruling class and the dreary existence of the working class is the main theme in the novels concerning working class and the ruling classes. In Brave New World, a class system is determined by alphas, betas, gammas, deltas, and epsilons, with lower class having reduced brain function and special conditioning to make them satisfied with their positions in their life. So here also it relates to the concept of individualism here. Alphas, betas, gammas, deltas, and epsilons, where the people with lower class having reduced brain functions, they are concerned as epsilons, others with alpha, betas. And a human who exist in conventional way are called as savages in the novel. So who live as a human, who live in a conventional way, are regarded as savages in the novel Brave New World. Next, in Epsilon Minus by Herbert Frank, people are divided into numerous alphabetically ranked groups. Even here, they are being ranked, how in the Brave New World, alphas, betas, gammas, how individuals are ranked according to their brain function. In this novel also, Silla novel also, people are divided into numerous alphabetically ranked groups. So they are being divided based upon, in Brave New World, technology plays an important role. So based upon the brain function. Here in Silan Miners, people are divided based upon the rank groups they carry on. Whether they are a working class or ruling class, based upon that, they are numbered alphabetically. Next is the religious control in dystopian novels. A religion controls the population by making them fear that certain actions or characteristics are sin or blasphemous. It results in a portion of the population fleeing the community or a revolt. So, in the novel, Chrysalis by John Wyndham is set in a world completely under the control of a powerful religion where any small abnormality, physically or mentally, is considered as blasphemy and, if discovered, will result in their termination. So, in this novel, they are under a powerful religion where even a change, which is both physically or mental change, is considered to be a sin. And if they discover that individual or that human would be terminated. So, how religion controls people both psychologically and physically. Next concept is the relation between apocalyptic and dystopia. Apocalyptic and dystopia are more or less related, and the themes of apocalyptic can be seen in dystopia. Themes of dystopia can be seen in apocalyptic novels also. Apocalyptic deals with the impact and the consequences of the event after the catastrophe, focusing on the psychology of survivors, the way to maintain the human race alive. It often takes place in a non technological future world or a world where only scattered elements of society and technology remain. It focuses on climatic change, impact event, man made nuclear holocaust, medical illness such as plague or virus. It may be natural or man made, imaginative or alien invasive. Apocalyptic, it focuses on what happens after a destruction. What will be the psychology of the survivors? How will the survivor face the world after a destruction? But dystopia speaks about the destruction. Apocalyptic novels, it speaks about what happens after the destruction, where they have only the scattered elements of society and technological remain. And time frame may be immediately after the catastrophe, focusing on the psychology of survivors. It involves supernatural phenomena, technological singularity, ecological collapse, and divine judgment. In dystopia, government control plays a very important role. But in apocalyptic novel, there is no government but only misery after an event kills of most humans, such as widespread illness or catastrophic environmental event. In dystopia, there is a government control. In dystopia, there is a government control, but in apocalyptic novel, there is no government. It speaks only about the misery that human faced after destruction. Now, coming to the final section, the four pictures in the slide. The first is where they are the first person, the one shouting in the mobile phone, shows his psychological problem. Then another is something depressed, and there behind them you can see characters who are least bothered about what is happening. And the second picture, it shows about a disaster. Third one, government control or an authoritative control. The fourth one, how technology it controls the human mind. The same here, A, B, C, D have numbered it accordingly. And a study proves that reading literary fiction, it improves the theory of mind. It shows that when you read something, literary, for example, literary fiction, it improves the theory of mind. The New School in New York City discovered that literary fiction changes the chemistry of mind. It enhances the reader's sense of empathy. So it is a study, research. It has showed that when we read literary fictions, what happens is readers they enhance the sense of empathy. The feelings gets enhanced into the readers. The characters, maybe in the fantasy or in a science fiction novels, they are internally consistent, and as a result, the reader don't need to flex their mental muscles to understand the characters. This is because what is happening to the character would or might happen to the reader also. So the reader easily gets connected to the psychological perspective of the character. Books are socializing influence. It teaches people's emotions, allows us to build deeper bonds with them, learn how to act in an emotionally intelligent way in the society. So, books, when we read a lot of books, what happens is we learn how to act in an emotionally intelligent way in a society. On the whole, reading makes you to live in a better society. If there are aspects in society that find traces of dystopian fiction, confront that, Orwell and Huxley has left a clue with how the regimes can be prevented. So this is an example of if we face such situations in our future, we can confront that already what to be done, how can be prevented is being given as a clue by Orwell and Huxley in their works. So an empathetic and a well-read population is more terrific than a fictional totalitarian. So the concern is that when you read a lot, automatically we'll get connected with the empathetic feelings of the characters, and will it is as we know literature is the mirror of life. What is happening might happen again to the readers also. So an empathetic and a well-read population is more terrific than a fictional totalitarian. Open up a book if you find a dystopian society, so that we can face the upcoming dystopian society. When you open up a book, that is meaning that whatever is need to be faced is already given in the books by our ancestors. Just by opening the book and reading, coming across the characters, how the characters felt, what did the characters do, we can also face the problems in our reality also. Thank you everyone. Sir.
Yes, Mahalakshmi. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, sir. Is there
And
any queries or discussion, sir?
yeah, there are a few questions in the chat box. Um,
Yes, one moment. I'll
so I
come.
request the participants to post their questions in the chat box.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Can you read the chat?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm reading it, sir.
Okay.
I got a question. How do you relate the dystopianism to the present generation? Yeah, dystopianism. Though the sir, am I audible, sir?
Yeah, you're audible. You can speak.
Yes, yes. So, though the definition it says that it is an imagination imperfect society, as I already told you, when the individuals are they are just watching it as an entertainment. The present generation, that is what is happening. They are watching the happenings as an entertainment. They are not putting themselves under the feet of what is happening around them. So in the when you relate to the present generation, this is what I say. People, they watch the happenings around them just as an entertainment. So in this way we can relate the dystopianism to the present generation, where they are though they are aware of what is happening, they are not ready to question it. They are just the speculators about what is happening until it comes to them. That is what is happening in the present generation. Another question: how can we understand dystopia in this COVID-19 situation? This we can relate it with dystopianism as well as with apocalyptic also. So we are in a phase where we are facing the destruction that is happening, and the same we are planning how what will happen after this ends. So we are in a midway between dystopianism and apocalyptic also. So how can we understand dystopia in this situation? It doesn't need that only when a nuclear bomb explodes it is a dystopia. When an environment gets destroyed, or when you lose your identity also, it becomes a dystopian. So when you feel that you're being controlled both by government as well as by economic problems, it is dystopia. So in this sense we can relate dystopia in this COVID-19 situation. So my views on the government's decisions are reflected as apocalyptic or dystopian society. As my previous answer, we are in mid. What is we are speculating what is happening as well as we are getting ready to face after the situation. Also, we are in mid, and government decisions, even their decisions are also like that. Can we relate this to the online learning, particularly for children? I don't get this. Can we relate this to the online learning, particularly for children? I don't get this question. Can we relate this to the online learning, particularly for children? So you can make the children understand what is happening, but we don't need to give all the bad effects to children. As they grow up, they'll understand what is happening around them. We cannot teach everything to the children. They don't understand it. But we, as we grow up, we understand in a certain stage. Unconditional survival, yet the people persist the situation in the dystopian. Yes, they search for their identity, unconditional survival, yet the people persist the situation in the dystopian is the dystopian. Yes, the loss of their own identity, where they search for their identity, they search for their survival. Though they persist the situation, they also search for their survival. So it is also dystopian.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Mahalakshmi, for your detailed and interesting presentation. Um, so, my hearty congratulations and many thanks to you for accepting my request and delivering a beautiful talk on dystopian fiction, particularly.
So,
Hopefully, if possible, we can have another session on dystopian literature with the other remaining detailed
oh,
fiction or
sure, sir,
topics.
sure, sir.
So, thank you
So
very much,
I also
Mahalakshmi.
thank you so much, sir, for giving me this good opportunity, and I thank all the participants for your cooperation and your patience. Thank you, everyone.
So, on behalf of the management of KPS, College of Arts and Science, as well as on behalf of the Department of English, faculty and students, I thank the resource person, Ms. Mahalakshmi, also the participants who joined today. So thank you very much. Hope to meet you in another session. I request the participants to fill the feedback form to get your certificates. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.